Mm.
Hello, hello, hello. What's
Oh,
going
okay,
on,
Barry
Doc?
White. Okay, Barry White. Not much. How are you? How are
I'm
you
great.
feeling?
I'm better. I'm better, Doc.
Good.
And for
Good, good, good.
those that don't know, man, I took a blow that normal folks don't take, and but I'm here, and as I go through the process, because Doc is my co-host, and so I'm surrounded by the best of the best of the best.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, Latoya the therapist is your therapist's favorite therapist.
Let
That's
them
what I'm
know.
saying.
Let
So
them know.
so even without even just by osmosis, man, by presence and by spirit, um, I get what I need. I get what I need. So anyway, welcome, welcome, welcome. Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Perspective. And if you're curious about what perspective is about, this is a safe place, a safe tree. The premise of our mission can be found right there in the name, perspective. It's a place where we can come and maturely, let's say, maturely and openly share different perspectives, different opinions, different ideas, different experiences, lived experiences, as I like to call it, um, and ideas and insights on any and of various and any type of subject. This is a place where we want to have those discussions, and we can often find that many times you may not agree with other people, but with that being said, that doesn't make either one right or wrong. They could, it doesn't make them wrong and you right, and doesn't make you right or you wrong and them right. It just simply means you're different. And when we can talk openly and respectfully about our differences, it typically brings us closer together as individuals, which ultimately will spread out and make us be closer together as a community. And then as a community, that can spread out and we can actually impact the world. And that's what we aim to do here on Perspective. So we want you to feel comfortable with sharing your insights, your perspectives, your opinions about things that have occurred in your life on the topics and subjects that we have. We'd ask you to share those with us. So get active in the chat. Don't be afraid. You may want to listen. We have those like that, but just hit us with three dots. Hit the like button. Share it with somebody who is a bit loquacious like myself, and they like to get in. They like to get in there and stir the pot, and give different views and points of views on things. Hey, so don't be afraid to do that. With that being said, I am Eric Butler, aka the Intellect, aka Cullinan 8, because I'm the biggest diamond ever found on land. I'm 3,000 plus carats, y'all, aka the Atlantic, because I'm cold, deep, and choppy. And it ain't nothing nobody can do about it. And with that being said, I am, obviously, I am a co-host on a podcast. I'm also a co-host on another podcast called Is It Wednesday Yet? Wanted to give them a shout out to AC, the Adrian Shawan, and to my partner Scotty Knox, who I call AKA Knox City. We're on Wednesdays at 8:30. And then also, I've been in the talent acquisition space or in the staffing space for about 19 years now. This has afforded me the opportunity to do some career coaching. It led into that, but that also just came into kind of being an advisor or consulting in general. On different life aspects and mindsets, also gave me the opportunity to be introduced to, and then ultimately sit on the advisory board for the Empower series, which is a financial literacy nonprofit, and that has led me into the opportunity to do speaking engagements. So for some reason, people think that I have something to say that is impactful, motivational, and even transformational. These are words that other people have brought to me. And ultimately, it just has me here for you and talking to you, and has connected me with someone who I admire quite a bit, who is what I would call one of the sharpest tools in the shed. They are super duper counterfactualistic espialidocious. They are unmatched, often imitated, but never duplicated. And I want to hand it over and let them introduce themselves. And what I'm talking about is my co-host, Latoya, aka Doc.
Ooh, okay, let's see. Hello, everyone. No, I'm just kidding. So, my name is Latoya, aka Chef Jeff's wife, aka them kids' mama. I am a licensed professional counselor, and I also have a audio only podcast. It's called Say More About That. It is on Spotify, Google, Apple, everywhere you want to be. I want to give a shout out to Chef Jeff. He has a show on the BS3 network. It comes on Tuesdays at 5:30. It's called This Dope Cooking Show. Y'all, so like people be like, why you always go to the gym every day? Have y'all watched my husband cooking show?
Hey, this is a real thing. We're not just saying what we're saying. It's a real thing. I have tasted the vittles, and it's real. It's real.
It is.
Tell me it's real.
I have to go.
The feelings that okay, let's get back on point. And so also
I have to go to the gym. Hold on, I got you. I have to go to the gym because that man be cooking, like cooking, and then I'm trying to like keep it together. You know what I'm saying? Because I wrote this book. It's called The Wife's Guide to Beating the Side Chick. In this book, I talk about the importance of self-care and maintaining your sexy, whatever that is. It is not a size. It is not a number on the scale. It is your sexy. It is where you as a woman feel comfortable. So that's why I go to the gym every day, because he just be cooking like my metabolism is never going to slow down. So that's where we are.
All right.
Let's get into it.
Hold on. Go ahead.
Disclaimer.
Oh, absolutely. How could we? Because it's one of my favorite things as well. So go right ahead, Doc.
All right, so here's a little disclaimer. I am a therapist, not your therapist, unless we have paperwork and a payment method in place. Eric and I will be speaking from our lived experience, our education, conversations we have had, and giving our perspective. We are not talking about our current life situation unless we are saying currently in our lives, this is what we're dealing with, okay? So don't be out here trying to make assumptions about what we got going on. Mm-hmm. Also, no one called us before the show. We are not talking about you specifically. We are talking about people as a collective. And we also know that your sister's homegirl, cousin, friend had the same situation and it worked out well for her. And we understand that she is the exception to the rule. And we love that for her, but we're not talking about her either.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. Let's go.
So don't be angry and don't be cruel. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I don't know what that is.
Because I get distracted every time. Like I'm a dance and I'm a sing.
Yeah, we're gonna do it
every time. That's who I am.
Kindred spirits. Doc, what does it say down there on the? What does it say down there on the ribbon, which is going to be the topic and the subject that we're going to speak about? Just because it's better than your last doesn't mean it's good.
I'm gonna tell y'all a quick story. But before I do that, let's get into the comments.
Okay, let's do that.
Okay, sis, with the picture. You all right?
Hey, good people. Hey, good person.
Hello.
If everybody don't know, that's my baby bird, man. That's my baby bird. That's one of my.
You better come on with the professional YouTube name with the picture.
Hey, y'all go.
You gotta let them know.
And it ain't shameless. I'm gonna tell you something. You know, it's easy to talk about a thing when it's quality, similar to perspective, and you know, everything has its beginning, and it's funny that can last a period of time. Blitz Last Out is the name of the company. If you go to Blitz with a Z, like it shows up there, Blitz Lashed with an ED, Lashed Out on Instagram. Just go check it out. See what people talked about it. Put the hashtag in there. You'll see what I mean when I say quality, professionalism, something that makes me proud as to be associated with it. I walk around a lot of times and say, yeah, I made that. You know what I mean? So, thank you for being in the building. Appreciate it.
I also want to say I watched her recent Instagram reel where she was like cleaning up and rearranging her lash room. It's very professional. I had a brief stint of being a lash girly. I wear contacts and I rub my eyes too much, so that just is not my ministry. But I had a brief stint. And her setup was so nice. It was so clean. And if y'all are like me and y'all walk in places like, especially when they about to do a service, it was very nice. And I enjoyed watching her clean it up.
Yeah, it's on point, man.
Very professional. Loved it.
There he is. The one, the only. when she said, I'm Chef Jeff's wife. Y'all see that name? He said, what up, folks? What up, good man? Mr. Jeff Gilliard. That's my partner right there, man. That's my
Hey,
partner.
husband. Okay. All right. And then he went on his other account just so we
Oh,
would
yeah,
know
he
it was
did.
real.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
Okay. Let me tell y'all a
So,
quick story. This is how we came up with the topic. So I'm talking to this person, and they say, "Oh my gosh, I thought this was going to be everything because my person is not, they're not abusive, they're not hitting me, they're not demeaning to me, and they pay for stuff. So I just thought that this was going to be the one." And I said, well, why'd you think that? Like, what was your standards? And they were like,
mm,
oh, because in my previous relationship, it was domestic violence, it was emotional abuse, it was a lot of financial abuse, and so this situation is completely different. So I thought it was going to be the best. And I thought, oh, well, just because it's not dog poo doesn't mean it's not poo. Like, what?
mm,
Now, of course, I did not say that to this person because they already felt bad enough. I said some other things. If you would like to know what I said, you either have to listen to my podcast or be a client. I don't know what to tell
yes.
you. But that is where this topic came from.
Mm.
So, again, I repeat, just because it is better than your last does not mean it's good. Oh, we got a comment.
Blish Lash Tech says, come on, sir, promote me down. Thank you. You're welcome. No, and it's well deserved. She'll be the first to tell you there is no, hey, I'm not going. If it ain't there, it ain't there. If it ain't it, it ain't it. And I can confidently say that it's it. It is it.
Her setup is
So
professional.
say that again.
Her setup is very professional. And because
Yes,
y'all know
yes.
we be judging books by their covers. Don't play like it's
Right.
just me. Her
Yeah.
setup
Now
is
we've
very
now very
professional.
like no the come on us we picky beyond you
We two
know
pick.
and man and I just seen the professionalism and the way that you go about doing things is very important and I've
Hmm.
just watched and observed and man when I say it's been built by her, it's been built by her. So just because it's better than your last does not mean it's good. Doc just shared that she had a conversation, and I want to highlight the fact that whenever you come on perspective and the things that we're talking about, these typically they're stemming from real world circumstance.
Hmm.
And as Doc said, not necessarily our own, but those who, they might not say much on the front end, but I promise you they talk to us on the
They
back
on
end.
the back end.
They on the back end. So we get ideas from viewers, people even in other walks of life and our other professional arenas, interactions and networks who say, hey, can y'all cover this or touch on these things? But with that being said, and I think this is something we should have a lot of comments on because I know individuals have made that change with an expectation that it would be better, and all it was different. So when we're going to talk about a few things that I guess that cause this, and don't be afraid, take it anywhere you want to take it. But I'm going to say a word, Doc, and then you tell me on the application of it to this thought or this concept. Standards. So,
Here's the thing. I feel like when we don't have enough dating experience, and I don't mean being in a relationship, I mean dating. When we don't have enough dating experience, when we're going out with people, having different conversations, engaging in different activities, like when we don't have enough experience, we don't really have standards. We don't really know what we want. We don't really know, like, I'll tolerate this. I can't stand this. This is my deal breaker. And so I think
right,
the problem is you have one relationship, you list out every single thing that you hate about it. And so you like, my next person, these are my standards. But you didn't ever really say what you wanted. You just focused on what you
what
didn't
you
want. And I
didn't want.
think that
Okay,
could be the problem with standards too. Like, yes, there's going to be a certain level of respect that I demand. It's going to be a certain level of how you're going to treat me. And I feel like as a human, we all should have that. But when we're talking about dating, we're talking about sharing intimate space, we're talking about building a life potentially, then you got to have standards. It's got to be
gotcha.
it's got to be an internal dialogue about what we want this to look like. I want a partner who does this.
And
And so often we're just like, well, my last one didn't do this, so the next one better do this. Well, he might do that, but he gonna also do this. You want that too? So I
And
think you
yeah,
gotta have
and Doc,
standards.
I think you hit the nail on the head because if I think back over, my history of that, definitely because the absence of one thing doesn't automatically include the inclusion of
Of
another
other
thing. Because so you
things.
may say, okay, I've identified these things, but there's things that are bad that you hadn't even identified yet, and you didn't
Right.
know to even look for that. So it'd be better to go the route you just mentioned. Hey, let me identify what I know I would like to be present.
Right.
Then of course I think that starts with that personal internal dialogue
Mhm.
of first know yourself, because we all got our things, because I'm pretty sure there's someone that can write down a list of things that you that you brought to the table that they say I will not have that anymore, and then own
My list
that.
would be short. Not
Mine will be walking around with blank pieces of paper. No, I'm joking.
okay, because what you mean? Because I am part. No, I'm just
Yeah,
kidding.
she's like, wait a minute. So with that being said, I think when we talk about standards, Doc, is there anything you can think of that, or I don't even, maybe even an exercise or a practice that could help individuals even identify their standards?
Yeah, just think about what's your ideal situation. What's your ideal marriage, your ideal partnership, your ideal relationship? What does that look like? How does that person make you feel? Where do y'all go? How do you spend your
Okay,
time? What activities do y'all engage in? What type of conversations do you all have? How often do you have sex? Like, let's keep it a buck.
let's keep it
What's the
above.
financial picture? Like, just take a moment and think about what it is that you actually want, because we never, I don't know that we're taught to look for the green. We're always
Yeah.
taught to avoid the red. And I feel
Mm.
like in avoiding the red, we often like get the same person in a different package. So
Ooh,
no,
say
so
it.
this person was physically abusive, but this person is financially abusive. So now you meet somebody who's not physically abusive, they're not financially abusive, but now they're emotionally abusive, right? And so it's almost like trading
Well, you
one
just
pair of
traded one
Jordans
abuse
for
for
another
another
pair. Yeah.
abuse,
So
and then
right.
you
And
don't
so it's
even
still abuse though. It's
and
still
the
abuse
trauma
because you're in
of
the
it,
same
Doc.
person.
And the trauma of it, Doc, is because the physical abuse is not there, and it's only verbal abuse. They will deem that
Tolerate it.
better. Yeah, they'll
Yeah.
be like, well, at least I'm not getting hit, and
Mhm.
I think you're setting yourself for a very very low bar in that. Man, that's a great identification, Doc,
A lack of
and
standards, because
a
their
lack
only
of
standard is
standards.
like, don't hit me. Well, yeah, don't call me the B
Mm,
word, don't call me nasty, don't call me trifling. Like it's other things to don't me, right? So
mhm.
if you're only coming from a place of like, this was my trauma, so don't do this, you set yourself up for like a host of other things that they can do.
This just came to mind. So
Mhm.
if there's somebody watching this, and because I think it's, even when you ask people, hey, write down your personal mission statement, or write down your mission statement, and or write down your values. It's not as easy as done as people would identify. I'm saying, so you said, but I got that don't list down. Do this.
Mhm.
Write your, and correct me if this is a bad exercise, Doc. Write down your don't list. Write them down. Okay. And then just think of what would be the the complete antithesis of that. What is the opposite of that? What would be the counter to that? This is one end of the spectrum. What would the other end of the spectrum of this be?
Mhm.
And then write that down. If you don't know, look it up. What is the antonym to this? If you got to, and write that list down. Now, I'm not going to say that is the list, but it may give you a step into looking at what you really are looking for. And then I think
Mhm.
there's a process of then breaking that down, because I think lists can get very dangerous, because
Mhm.
now you're out there looking for the purple squirrel with a polka dot feet, and it poots gold dust. Okay, we call
Mm.
purple squirrels in the recruiting and talent acquisitions, because
Okay.
the manager be like, yeah, I want them to be able to do Excel, and I want them to be able to do quadratic formulas, and then I want then I need them to be a great
Girl.
presentation. Yeah, I mean, I'm serious. Like, hey, what are the top 3 things that they need to do? What are the top 3 things that must be had and you must have in place for everything to work? And that may be I don't know if we can dwindle it that closely down to relationships, but maybe we can, or a partner, and you can identify. Keisha,
Yeah.
Ishak, yeah, my bad.
I
I'm
didn't.
sorry if I messed your name up. Hey, Keisha. She said, good
Hey,
evening,
Keith.
y'all. She said, quick question. What does it's mean? This title is pretty loaded. Are we talking about the sex or the person overall?
I
Yeah,
would say
well,
the oh, go
no,
ahead. I'm sorry.
and I like the it's the it's because it left for that inquisitiveness, and I mean, so that's exactly for what we were talking about. So I guess really the it's can be whatever it is for you, because the real concept of is the thought in the mind of just because you do something different, it doesn't mean that it's better. There's always other aspects that you have to look at and consider, and really our platform, kind of centers around mental health, cultural topics, and relationships, which is what we get a lot of. So it can cover whatever really is important to you within that sphere. Mr. J. Gilliam says it equals everything, because I think it'd be applicable, because it's really about mindset and how we think and view things, and we feel like this topic will help people have a renewed vision or a different vision and open up their perspective on things.
I
I'm
agree with
hoping
all
I
of that.
answered. Yeah,
Yeah, I agree
go
with all
ahead,
that
Doc.
100%. But I think the part where the comment came, we were specifically talking about the whole relationship.
Mhm.
So while we may take it in different areas, because that's just what we be doing. I
Yeah.
think I'm not sure when you came in or what you heard, but for that first part, we were definitely talking about relationships, how getting out of one relationship to get into another one, just because it looks different doesn't mean it's better.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed. So, Doc, I think you mentioned this. You said like picking the same thing just in a new package, and I think
Yeah,
that can
because
be
you
tricky. Yeah, go ahead.
so like, okay, I know we was talking about relationships at first, but think about a job, right? So I used to work in community mental health. I now have a private practice. When I get stressed out, I run my
Hmm.
private practice like it's community mental health. And so what I am doing is sabotaging myself and creating a situation to where it looks exactly the same, just in a different package. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes we go from one job to the next job looking for something different. And the only thing we're focused on is salary. We're not even looking at the culture of the company, or
The
did
environment.
I like these
Who am I
people when they
working with?
interviewed me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that matters. That can I
Yes.
work with you? Can I read your emails? Like that matters more than I think we give credit to. I think we like, oh, it's a $20,000 increase. Cool, I'm out. But
You're
$20,000
100%
over
correct.
12 months, minus taxes, minus insurance, minus retirement, ain't really that much today
And it
with
will
inflation.
and it will wear you out. I'll give you an
Mm-hmm.
example. We call them boomerangs or bounce backs. But there are individuals that come back to an organization. In certain spaces, in corporations, there are people that are there for 10 years. The industry will change, something will come up. They get an offer for like $20,000, $30,000 more. Sounds like
Yeah.
a slam dunk decision, right? I've had individuals leave the organization. I mean, the shortest time I've seen is a month. In a month's time, they came back. It was like, we was like, yeah, but the comp range for this role, I don't care that they said what I experienced over there, I didn't know how good I had it where I was. I
Yeah.
didn't consider the other aspects of the thing. And so so I guess this could be on the flip side. They'll come back for $20,000 less.
Mm.
Do you hear me? I'm like, so you have to, but the point of that is to make sure before you're making the moves and when you make the move, there are other things that you need to truly consider. Because everything that glitters is not gold. You know what I mean? So, work on your identification skills to make sure that you're not picking the same thing. It's just packaged different. We
Mm-hmm.
have sayings for that. The green is not always the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
You think you're going into a better situation, or it's a bigger, well-known organization. And then here, let's think about this. And Doc, you can play with this. If you go to some place and they pay you more and they're giving you more, then what would be the automatic expectation that they're going to what?
I think we
Ex-
think they're gonna treat us better, but they probably gonna expect more.
Boom, you said it, hit the nail on the head. And yes, if I'm paying you, and this, we got to think about it. And I know this is not a relationship, but I think it can correlate. You know, going into those type of situations, there's something else that's going to be needed and expected, because they're like, man, but I'm paying you all of this, so now you haven't even assessed that that ain't what I really want. You
Mm-hmm.
need to know if, and just think about the trade off. If you like work life balance more than, you might like that more than compensation. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But you need to find that out within yourself. Similar to, you need to really find out what are your non-negotiables, to use that word, or what are your true needs. So when we talking about relationships, we talk about being equally yoked. I think people need to look up the word yoke, look up what it looks like, what it is, and what it's used for. And I know I've seen it on TikTok or YouTube or something. It came up, and the woman explained a very good analogy to the yoke, what it does. It's really used to guide in the farming area. On it, a yoke goes on to oxen, and it keeps them steady and together, and they move together to pull the plow. But if you're in a yoke and one of them is one person is weak on their right, it's, if we're both strong on the right side, then we'll always get off base and go to the right. If one is weak in the wrong place, or if they're both weak in the same place, then you're going to have a lack. It's not going to go straight. So you need to understand, what are your needs, what are your strengths, what are you really looking for when you're in a relationship. What is it they bring to you that makes you stronger? What is it you bring? What is it you bring to the table that makes them stronger? What helps even things out so that you can go in a straight direction? And then that calls into, not but we'll talk about self-sabotage and intuition. And I think this rolls right into that. Is like, everybody's looking for someone who's just like them or thinks just like them, but you have to be open. You have to know yourself, know that list that Doc just mentioned about what you really do want, so you can see, oh, that person can bring it to me, or that person
Mm-hmm.
has that. And then identifying them, I bring this to them. Somebody may be too much of a spender, somebody's more frugal. They actually make a good partnership because they can balance each other out. You see what I'm saying? Somebody's
Mm-hmm.
never goes anywhere. The other one likes to move around, jet set a little bit. They'll get this person out a little bit. They'll make the other one sit down every now and again. You know what I mean? So you want to dig into that. But so when I say self-sabotage, when it comes to just because it's better than your last, just because it's better than your last doesn't mean that it's good. When we talk about self-sabotage and versus intuition, and I'll let Doc chomp on that one.
So I think that sometimes when you've come out of a bad situation, whether it be a bad like work experience, a bad relationship, let's stick with the relationship for this example. But sometimes when you come out of a bad relationship, anything that favors what you just been in, you're like, oh, I'm out, I'm done. And you're sabotaging what could be really good for you, right? Because it not looked like but favored something that you saw previously. And so I think sometimes we either leave too soon or we don't leave enough, and so you self-sabotage what you could have had going on, versus if you just slow down for a second and let your intuition tell you. You'll know when it's time to go. Your body is going to tell you, this company ain't for me, this man ain't for me, this friendship ain't for me, this trip I shouldn't be going on. Your body knows. I don't know how, I don't know why, but it does, and it'll tell you. And if you just take a second and like slow down, you can tell the difference between I'm running and sabotaging because I'm afraid
Mm,
versus nah, this ain't it for me. I think I'm out.
mm. And you know, Doc, when you said that, I was like, man, the thing that popped in my mind was, man, the best way not to get in that situation is to really do the due diligence on the front end
Mm-hmm.
so that you don't, the best way to stay out of trouble is not to get in and in. Um, I'd rather battle something.
I used to think like that, but
Mhm.
I met somebody who did their due diligence. And when I
Oh, no.
say
I,
more than what I would have done, and I think I'm a very inquisitive and curious person,
right.
she did more than I thought. And it still was like, hey, you don't never really know, do you?
You
So I don't
don't.
know that we can say do your due diligence and like that's it. I think there's always a level of chance to this thing.
No, no, I think that goes without question because I don't want to get too deeply philosophical because you really don't control anything. you know, it really does. Hey, I'm gonna go to my favorite book, man. It says the rain falls on the just and the unjust alike. Things just happen.
Mhm.
There is an element of chance in everything we got going on. I think the big example that anybody can understand, nobody in their mind thought that really almost the entire world and the country could really shut down and say, do not leave, do not go anywhere, and everybody, gridlocked in that way. You know what I mean? There was a time where no one thought, no, you can't work completely from home. You can do it maybe once. Man, people were doing it, and they're doing it, and things change. So there's a chance, and there's the unforeseen always. Here's the thing, and this is the way to your point. Um, I think my point is due diligence is always required. I mean, you
Mhm.
give yourself a chance, right? But here's the deal. An example, you can do all the work, you can do everything in line, you can prepare, you can work really hard, go do the thing, set it loose, and still fail.
Mhm.
But
That
if you do,
sucks, though, don't it? Oof.
yes, but if you there's a possibility you can still fail or things go awry. But if you
Right.
absolutely do nothing, you do not prepare, you don't study, you don't get yourself ready, you take no steps of preparation, it's about guaranteed that you will fail. So I'd rather take the chances on doing some preparation, doing some due diligence to increase my chances of success than
Mhm.
to adopt just going free willy nilly and almost guaranteeing that it won't work.
Mm. I
So
get that.
that's yeah. So but you are absolutely correct. And I think it's a foolish thing to always think things are the guaranteed thing. Nothing is.
It's
You know.
nothing, because the only thing you can control is you. You
Right,
can't control
right,
how a person responds to you.
right.
You can deliver something so sweetly, so innocently, so harmlessly in your mind, and you're like, "Ooh, I nailed it. I used my inside voice. I thought about it before I said it. Like, they gonna get this," and they get offended. It's nothing you can do about it.
Absolutely. At nothing. Nothing.
You can
Never. Okay.
preface it and be like, "Hey, I'm a little emotional about this topic. Forgive me on the front end." They could still get
Don't.
offended.
Mm-mm,
It
mm-mm.
like
Don't work that way.
sometimes people are just determined to misunderstand. And I think that the moment we accept that the only thing that we can control is ourselves and like really accept it, not accept it from like a cognitive place because you understand it, but like internalize that thing. Like, you know what? All I can do is me. Life is a touch easier.
And you
I
kind of
say a
hit on this
touch.
a little bit. So, and you're going to get what it is that you accept.
Right. Okay, so perfect example. I told this story on my TikTok. So, long story short, an insurance company reached out to me and was like, "Hey, somebody requested you. We want to pay you $50 a session." I said, "Absolutely
Wait,
not.
wait, wait. Do the move again. Do the move again, Doc.
Absolutely not.
Who y'all talking to?
$50?
Who y'all talking to?
Sir, I can't even
That's
take a
funny to
class
me.
for $50." Okay, whatever. So,
Wow. Yeah.
but the whole like asking for what you want because you get what you accept. Now, I could have said no, right? Like, nope, I know. But I was like, nah, this is my rate. What's up? They came back with a counter offer that I felt like was appropriate. So you get what you accept. Like, what if I'd have just said, oh, is that y'all's rate? Okay, cool. That would have
Man,
been me accepting it, No, absolutely not.
I
What if
just
when
now
and
go
then
ahead, Doc. No, go
the
ahead.
future client, I guess child, they probably found me online. I don't know. I don't know how they found me, but shout out to them. I haven't even met them yet, but they were like, nah, I want her. What if they had just accepted, here's a list of people that we rock with, choose from this list? You know what I'm saying? What if they had just accepted that? You
Right.
get what you accept.
You get what you accept.
Mm-hmm.
I just saw some information, and I think I may have shared it, and I thought it was so good because I do I'm in the business space. I would say financial literacy puts me in that realm and around individuals. So a lot of that stuff comes on my timeline, and I read a lot of those information surrounding that. And so on this video that I was watching, one, do not judge a book by its cover,
Mm-hmm.
because the speaker was talking about. He said, "What is the difference? Like, do not." This goes in line with you get what you accept. So think
Mm-hmm.
about it from a business standpoint, and this can apply. These are life applicable concepts that we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
When you have a service, and you just gave a perfect example of that, the value, what is the difference in the value between someone saying the $50, and then I know you ain't trying to tell the price, I guess, whatever, for whatever reason of what they did that was more appropriate, the more
Right.
appropriate price. And just for conversation and to put numbers in place, I'm going to say a number. Hey, good evening, Mr.
Good evening,
Ben
sir.
Sutter. Yeah, Mr. Ben Sutter the third. Good evening to you. And if you do not realize, Ben Sutter the third, if you don't see the connection, he puts the BS3 into the BS3 network. Hey, man, appreciate you greatly for all that you do. If you don't do anything for anybody else, I get it for everybody. I promise you, I'm on him all the time. I ask a lot, and he always delivers with no complaints and no worries. So thank you, sir. Um, but as I was saying, you know, he was talking about, okay, business, your services, and your prices, right?
Right.
And so but they like, I don't have this. And the conversation is, okay, you don't have what my price is. I'm not finna lower my price.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what problem do you have? This is the problem. So the value of this really is in the between where my price is and where you're at, where you're saying you need to be. If you have
Mm-hmm.
this type of problem, I'm telling you the quality you're going to get, the impact you're going to have, and the results or the resolution that I'm going to provide you. Is it worth this? And 9 times out of 10, if the client or the customer is really has something they're trying to get done, they're going to be like, yes, it's worth that. And that's
Mm-hmm.
where your worth is. Do not lower your price. Do not change your price, especially if you know you provide quality. No, if you're an in time, on time individual on whatever service, whatever business you're providing, man, stick to that and don't budge on that. And I'm gonna be honest, it will bring your clientele to you. So if we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about relationships, you find out what your list is, you find out the things that you need to have that need to be present as far as character and other aspects of that person, and don't move off of that, then you'll attract that. That will come to you because those will be
Right.
individuals from a business standpoint who can pay your price,
Mm-hmm.
who roll in that, they're in that, let's say they're in that income bracket, so to speak, and that will bring those things to you as well. Now make sure that don't lose the point. You need to yours with the problem solving you bring, the quality of service or the quality of your product is what's going to demand that price. So make sure that's up to par. And in relationships, make sure that you personally are up to par to that.
I agree with all that. I also think that while y'all are making y'all's list, make sure that you match the list. I cannot stress that enough.
Talk
And
about
I'm
that a
not
little bit
even
more.
trying to be funny, y'all, but because
No.
I know that everybody like as a woman, I get tired of people telling
Mm.
women what to do, how to be dressed like this, high vibe woman, high energy man. Like, I get sick of all that. But y'all, when y'all making this list, you have to match the list. The list, you can't be a 3 and you looking for a 23. That's not everybody's story. You know, like I know your
No,
sister
Doc.
lost her
Say the
cousin.
truth. See, you was on
I,
it, and then you
I
backed off and
know.
got nice. Talking about not everybody. Listen, that is not rooted in
No,
reality.
no,
Don't be
here,
realistic.
no,
Respect reality now.
no, because I feel like there has to be a level of delusion to get you to your goal. It just a little bit, just a little touch, right?
Doc,
Like just a
we're gonna
touch.
take some time. We might not even get through the other
Okay,
points. You're
here's
gonna
the
have
thing.
to
Okay, we don't
help
have to
me.
because here's
Help
the thing.
me.
I'm about to tell you. So, okay, check this out. When you set a goal for yourself, it's supposed to be a little bit scary. If it's not a little bit scary, if it's not a little bit out of reach, it ain't really a goal. It's just a to-do list.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm
So
still on the boat. Let's go.
Okay. It takes a little bit of delusion, imagination, creativity, or something to be like, I could reach this goal. It's got to be a touch scary. If it's not a little scary, it ain't even a real goal. So all I'm saying is, if you a 3, baby, go for a 7, not a 23. Come on.
See,
Because here's the thing:
See,
you're going
I'm
for a
stop.
7.
I was rowing.
You're gonna get a 5.
With
Hold
you.
on,
I was still on the boat.
I'm gonna pick you back
Okay,
up.
go ahead.
If you're a 3, and I'm telling you, go for a 7, you ain't gonna get but a 5. But that 5 is still better than your 3.
But shoot for the moon, and even if
Land
you
in the
miss,
stars.
you'll still be amongst the stars. Shout out to Les Brown, boom boom, because that's his. Now I will not act like that's mine. So I got it. Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah.
I'm wet, but I got back in the boat. I'm wet.
Pick you back up. Come on, pick you back up. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, I had one leg out there. I was like, I gotta get out.
Don't worry about it. We still cruising. Come on, don't worry about it.
I was about to head to shore. I'm serious. So, no, I love. I can dig that, Doc. I can dig that. Now, I mean, I still got a little, still got a little asterisk in my soul about it because it's like, it's like shoot for a 7. But when we're talking about relationships, and then we're talking about other human beings, right? Because it's so gray, and there's so many nuances to it. There's always these fundamental things that people need. So if what you're shooting for is a 7, then I think you need to study and understand what 7s are looking for, what 7s like, what 7s have an expectation of, and then see what they're looking at, what they like, what attracts them, and then you have to do the work to be that thing. And I think that's where the thing that gets missing. And then even if we just talked about this, even if you do all that, you still might not get a 7.
Also, here's the thing. I don't think a 3 is getting a 7. I think a 3 is getting a 5. But as you're working to get your 7, you're going to become a 4. And so when you bag your 5, you still better than you was when you started.
We're going to talk about it a little bit, and they might get up, man. I mean, like 3s, some 3s?
I do.
And they got men.
Well, men don't really care as long as I'm not going to say that on this show, but yeah.
What was you going to say? Don't put it on sex. Men are not that simple. They want to make us.
Yes, they simple. Are. A man that's a 5 is absolutely that simple. A man that is a 5 is absolutely that simple.
Yeah, you're right. I've seen some cats moving away, and I was just like,
okay.
I was like, no, and I literally said, bro, what are your standards? Like, say, do you not care anything about anything else about this person? Because it's just, I couldn't fathom it. It didn't calculate in my mind, But Mr. J. Gilliard says, I know a 3 who married a 2, and they think they a 10.
That's that delusion. Listen, I'm rocking with it. Be delulu.
Man, that's y'all working in. Y'all working in conjunction. That was a great setup. That was the most beautiful alley-oop I didn't ever see. Because she came in there. That's delusion. See, That's what I'm saying. I can't. I'm gonna lose if I try to fight. I'm gonna
No,
lose, but I'm gonna
and like
fight.
we did not even plan that because this ain't even on our note sheet. So, like, I'm just saying that's what a delusion.
Man, that man
Because
came
them
right in
people,
there and said,
I
"I
know
got
who
your
he's
baby."
talking about.
He said, "I got your
I
baby."
know
Boom.
exactly who he's talking about. And baby,
Man,
they really think they are 20. And
listen, and
okay,
no, and I mean, it convicted me because I know some individuals. They happy, man. They got their family, they got stability, and I'm just like, for real, you on the
and
spectrum, and you not, and you like deep in the spectrum, and you doing better than the folks.
I'm
Hey,
telling you,
it's pop. You right, and but I
I
did
am
say
right.
it's great,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of nuances to it, and it's no surefire thing. Um, and really, I guess the delusion is it's like, so as a man thinketh, so is he. See, now the stuff comes to me, I'll take it. I grow every day. I grow every day. I grow every day. I learn. It's a constant life thing. Mr. Jagilia said, just some. I think he said just some dudes. I think
Just some duds. He
just
calling
some
them.
dudes. Indeed, indeed. But so we're talking about just because, and if Keisha's still watching, just because your last relationship was better, that doesn't mean that it's good. Just because it's better than your last relationship, it doesn't mean that it's good. So it doesn't mean your new relationship is good. And we're talking about concepts of that. So how does self-love play into this, Doc?
I just feel like when you love yourself, you honor yourself and you don't settle for less. The problem
Quit
is
saying that word. I thought we talked about it. We can't settle for. I hate that word.
you
But
don't
go
like
ahead,
settle.
Doc. I'm sorry for interrupting. It's just
I mean, settle like hit you in the chest. What's up
it
with you and
did. I'm like,
settle?
what do y'all mean? I think it's rooted in pompous and arrogance.
Settle got a negative connotation for you?
It does, because I believe that when you say I settled, it's like, okay, who are you? Because you
They
got,
do.
and I think that yeah, and yeah, I love reality and I respect it a whole lot.
Need a touch of delusion.
You did say that. I'm gonna have to. I promise. I'm going to meditate on that. I'm definitely going to do that. And
Just a touch.
and that,
Now I'm not
yeah.
saying be like, oh, I'm Beyonce. I'm not
And
saying
I
that. That's not
and
what
I
I'm saying.
think that's where my
See, that's
disdain
not what
comes
I'm
from,
saying.
because it's not, no one's dealing with a touch. It's like everybody's taking two scoops.
Well, I'm not
And
talking about them. I'm talking about
okay,
our conversation. I'm saying you
well,
just need like
I got you.
like
I got
just
you.
a sprinkle, just a little.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, just
Just
you
a tad.
because
Like shoot for the,
because
like take the risk, take the leap, take the jump. Now do the
yes,
work. But I still want to tell them, do the work now and make it
yeah,
sensible. You did say a 7 out of 23, so you covered it.
I
Ah,
did,
yeah.
I
All
did. You
right.
just kind of still
She's just
struggling
talking
with
about people who have sensible goals, like aspirations, and you have to take risk. There, no great feat is done alone, and it absolutely involves risk. Anything that you do, and then we did touch on the fact that risk. There's always a risk of things not happening, even if you do due diligence and
it. Mhm.
preparation and set up, and it's still that. So that's there, but don't be delusional. Don't be so goofy. And talk yourself into be like I don't even want to bring her up because it may stir up something. But like I felt like, well, let me ask a question. The way that Lizzo was acting and presenting herself, would that be considered just a little bit of that or a lot of delusion?
Well, what was she? How was she presenting herself? Because
Man,
what
she going to NBA games that are nationally televised
with her
with her
booty
whole
out.
hind parts out,
I mean, Lizzo
and
knows
then
she
shaking
big.
it and was saying I'm fine.
As a man thinketh, so is he. Ain't that what you said? I think she thinks she fine. I don't think she's delusional. I think there's a subset of people that think she fine. I think she's
Okay,
pretty. I don't know. I would say fine.
I think she's talented.
I think she's pretty and talented. She be playing the shit out that
Yeah.
flute. What is that flute? Yeah.
Okay. No, I was just using her as an example because she was well known and she was
Yeah, I
over
don't
the
think that's a good
plus.
example because I feel like in her, yeah.
Well, okay. Who was someone like like we have famous people. So I'm gonna use this point. We have very well known individuals, and we talk about positive body imaging. I get it. Love yourself. Don't let people demean you, so that you're not harmful to yourself. And when we're talking about size, because I brought that up, and I use Lizzo as an example. What's her name? Jennifer Hudson. Jennifer Hudson was
Love her.
on the me too, on the plus side, but she went, but she took it upon herself to lose weight.
Yeah, she was on Weight Watchers commercial.
Yeah, and then what Luther Vandross. We have Big Luther. We have jokes about Big Luther, and then we got Little Luther. Luther Vandross lost weight and said they felt better and looked better to themselves, which is important. So we see individuals who already have the acclaim, they have those things, but yet they see the value in presenting themselves to the market because the market is saying we like that. And I think when you go past looking at the market has said, yeah, that is, we're not saying you're horrible and you're bad, but that's not what I'm attracted to. That's not what I'm drawn to. That's not what I want to do or be with. And then you say, well, you're wrong because you should love me as I am. And you shouldn't like what you like. You should like what I am. That's where the delusion comes in for me. And I think
so.
that's
I don't know that. I don't. Okay, so I think I'm confused. I'm
okay.
off the boat. Come pick me up.
Okay.
Because if we go back to Lizzo didn't say don't like what you don't like. You should like me. She said you should listen to my music and appreciate my music no matter what I look like. And to that, I agree because I could listen to the radio without a video. You know what I'm saying? So
I agree.
I don't know. Come back and get me. I think I
agree. I was using her as like, well, I mean, maybe I have to be, Lizzo is not what I would consider I don't think she was as.
But I think her whole message was, my size doesn't matter, my talent does. And you said
but I don't
she's
think
talented.
Well, I'm talking. She is talented, but I mean, we're talking about relationships, and what involves relationships is there has to be a certain level of attraction. You know what I mean?
I can guarantee you, Lizzo ain't got no problem getting no man or no woman. I can guarantee it.
Based on what?
She's not having an issue. I know big women, and not now big woman I know has ever had a problem.
I was married. I was married to a big woman. So that's not. I'm not. No, I'm really speaking objectively, and I'm using I'm using my schema and knowledge of conversations with, other men, other individuals. And I'm even considering, and maybe it's wrong because I'm using a woman as an example, like, but men and women are different because think about it. Mike Jones said it best. Back then you didn't want me. Now you're all up on me, and it happens but with men, their physical attraction is a key element of a part of relationships. So that's why I'm speaking on that. With men, if we were talking on the other side, like a man has to be a provider and a protector. He has to bring that at a certain level. You know what I mean? And so I think men can be delusioned about what they want a woman to be and whatnot. And I think women can be delusional about that as well. I was just speaking on women ultimately. So to say that when we talk about, and now we're really talking, because let's keep it, I want to make sure I say this. The delusion is what I'm saying. The level of delusion, and I'm trying to describe, this is an example of what I would say is delusion beyond a healthy amount, as you would say is necessary for individuals. because
Okay.
because see, some
Okay. So
delusion just
I would
goes too
think,
far. But go
let
ahead.
me say it this way. I think the level of delusion that you are speaking to would be the equivalent of a plus size woman believing she was going to be the voted sexiest woman of the year. Like a for real plus size woman, not the plus size woman they be trying to play that they plus size and they really be a size 10, not them. I'm talking about the 25s and ups. I'm talking about them.
Yeah. And
I
I
think
am
that
too.
would be
I
the
am too.
level of delusion. Is that
It's
what you're
like,
saying?
yes.
Okay. I mean, I
Or she
personally thought it
feeling
was
like
delusional.
she really finna pull the dude.
So here's the
Like
thing. I
that's
know
yeah.
men like big women. They don't want
Men,
you to know that they like big women. In
listen,
public,
that's my listen. There's a difference between wanting to be with somebody and wanting to smash somebody. The smashing is gonna go down. That happens. It's dudes that'll smash. I mean, I know a woman. She ugly. She is ugly. She's an ugly lady.
that
And
is not nice.
this is not no where beauty is in the eye of the beholder. Nobody's gonna say, no, man, I see she cute. Like, let me ask this: is Flavor Flav an unattractive man or not?
Yeah.
Yes,
I
he is not.
said
No, and I'm not saying that to you. I'm saying yes, he's unattractive. Why were women kissing him in the mouth? Because he was
because they
rich
wanted to be on that show.
and he had money. And most of them didn't even mean it when they was doing. So I'm just saying it's these levels of delusion. Because really, Flavor Flav thought he was a catch to somebody. Now how he got with that big blonde white lady, and I think they were really in love. I could not
But she not
understand.
attractive.
Yeah. I was trying to get on the men a little bit, but nevertheless, I think people understand I didn't want to leave this with people thinking I'm just like bashing big ladies. That's not the case. Because I look the holistic element of a woman really, really matters to me. And I promise I judge from the inside to the out.
So,
Honestly.
ladies, if you plus size, what he's saying is get in them DMs.
That is not, I didn't say nothing of that.
Why am I a child? I am always somebody's child.
And then if I say, do you know someone, it's like
Listen,
6 people,
no,
she would have a
this is the
good
comment
time.
right here. Every woman on 600-pound life got a man. You better say it again. And every man on there got a woman too, baby. And they be huge.
And how many of men was fine? How many of the men could catch somebody else?
That ain't the point. They had a man.
That ain't the point. Okay, you said ain't the point, man. So let me hit I won't doctor.
Hold on, because let's wrap this up. Because see, now we are just talking about any and everything at this point.
Hold on, this is perfect. Let me ask this question because it's gonna give you
Okay.
your platform, and you can dive off, and then we can wrap this up right. So, how does this is my point? How does self-awareness play into this?
Okay, you got to be self-aware. You got to know if you a 3. If you a 3, sis, go get you a 5. Bro, if you a 3, get you a 5. Like, it is what it is. You have to be aware of what you do and do not possess. But you also have to be aware of what you do and do not want, what you will and will not tolerate. And so your awareness has to be external and internal. Now, let me wrap up this whole little level of delusion and like really let the people know what I was talking about. So you got to think about, I had just enough delusion to think I could own a private practice in the middle of a pandemic. That was a touch of delusion. I didn't know how to start. I didn't know what to do. It was real just trailer park in the beginning. It was like a Calendly link and it was chaotic. But you learn as you go. It took a small pinch of delusion to think that I could even pull it off. And I did. So that's what I'm saying when I say a little touch of delusion.
I just figured out what the problem is.
What's the problem?
And you're going to be upset when I tell you we did not cover the definition of delusion. That's why we got off into them weeds.
And you know what I would consider
next time. Because what you just described to me is ambition
and hope. But the TikTok girls are calling it
and Doc,
Tasha's trying to reach our audience.
Doc is good. Doc is not no. She's not. She's definitely a part of the not normal nation. I'm gonna
Oh,
tell y'all this.
absolutely.
She is good. She's better than good at what she does. Like it can be a bit scary. I believe
But
it's divinely orchestrated. No, I'm playing the trumpet right now. It's divinely
hold on, but
orchestrated.
this is where the delusion
Go
comes
ahead.
from. I am an amazing therapist, baby, but at that paperwork and all that, ooh, trash. So that's where like the like the audacity
She
that I
said,
thought
"Baby, trash."
that I thought that I was gonna come up with some paperwork, some practice. Like it was
Did
a
you?
little.
Did
I
you?
mean, I did. I figured it out.
Did you?
Like
You
figured it
doing
out
it?
as I went.
You got
Yes,
it? That
but
was
that's what
not
I'm saying.
delusional.
A little bit it was. If you
Because the
knew how
core
awful I
element,
was at
but
paperwork,
the core element of what we're talking about is it's your gift
no,
as a
therapy and business
therapist.
is different.
Yeah,
Being
I
a
know.
therapist and owning a business
It's
is
not.
different.
I'm not disagreeing. I'm not disagreeing, my sister. I'm not disagreeing. But I'm gonna tell you, your purpose, everything else will be added to you when you're walking in your purpose.
Gotta
And
have a
you are
little delusion.
walking in your purpose. There was nothing delusional about it. Maybe to other individuals, but not to you. It was that paperwork was come. Matter of fact, once you get big enough, you already are going to you're going to offshore that process anyway. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? You're going to hire a contract who handles your HR. You're going to build yourself a CRM or ATS or it will be a client depository. You're going to have all that stuff. That's why people who do major things like CEOs, what they have, executive assistants, because they don't do that stuff. They
Yeah, I'm with
always
you.
are. Well, how come I can't think of the word, Doc? It's when you give tasks and you give tasks,
Delegate.
delegate, the word delegate. You delegate those things. And that's the same thing as a yoke. And when you're in a relationship, you delegate the person to their strengths. This is what I'm going to focus on because this is where I'm really good at. This is what you focus on. But in all of that, you really need to know yourself. And you don't need to be like, I want Idris Elba, but I look like
Okay,
I
and so
don't look like.
this where the delusion come in there because I love me some Idris and I love Sabrina, but Sabrina is regular. Sabrina is very much girl next door. I went to school with her. Like Sabrina is so regular.
Because I'm gonna tell you, girl next door can get it.
I'm just
Natural
saying.
is beautiful.
And so that's why us regular people be like, oh, we do
Y'all
got a
be
chance.
they be winning, but I mean that y'all be winning anyway. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, we gotta
It's
wrap
the
this thing up.
Delulus we talking about. It's the Delulus.
You need a sprinkle of it. I don't care what nobody say. You need a touch.
That's ambition.
Okay, I'm gonna call
Delusion
it
and
ambition.
ambition are different. I think I made a great point because normally
You
you would
did.
eat me. If I'm off, you'll eat me up, and that's one thing I love
Yeah.
about it. So, but here's this. Thank you. I'm gonna leave it at that, Doc. Excellent. I appreciate you because she did have to talk about that self awareness and that that pause she gave because she was like, "Damn, you do have to know yourself." And you need to be on point. And you did say that. You was like,
Mm.
shoot for a 7. Don't be shooting, and you on, but they expect to get a 5. But those that are shooting to get a 23, like you might as well just sit down. You got other work you need to do. You need to get in the seat. You need to get on Calendly and schedule with Doc so she can
Oh, Doctor,
recalibrate.
baby, we've moved on from Calendly. We got a whole EHR over here,
See
baby.
what I'm talking about? See, now y'all talking about I was delusional. No, man, not even close. You messed up and used the wrong example yourself because I didn't see you. I didn't see you getting through knife life. So you good. You good. With that being said, man, hey, do us a favor. Make sure you reach out to us. Let us know whatever it is. Liked, hated it, whatever the case may be. If it's something if you have a thought on the topic, or if there's something you would like us to discuss or something you want to discuss, let us know. We appreciate the interaction. As Doc says, hey, the algorithm is real. That everything you do is definitely beneficial. sharing it, liking it, subscribe. That's why everybody asked that. And we appreciate you being here. So definitely, if you would, just take the opportunity, hit the like button on whatever platform you're on, hit the like button. If you have issues, technical issues, hey, I tried to comment, but there was no place to comment. I tried to see it, or I couldn't, anything like that, let me know. Now, if you go on Facebook, on going to our Facebook page, you'll be interacting with me quite a bit. If you go onto our Instagram, which is Perspective Pod, Pod, then you'll connect with Doc. So that'll probably get flooded, Doc. And just let us know if you have thoughts, concepts, and even if you contact her on Instagram and it's something you have a question for me, we'll get it. You can't miss us. If you have something for Doc, you go on Facebook. If that's the platform you use, you'll be able to get a hold of her. I'll make sure that happens. But other than that, we thank you. We appreciate you. And Doc, what we doing next week? Do we even know yet?
We'll be here doing something.
We'll be here doing something, and we'll give our people an opportunity to do that. Hey, we appreciate you. We love you, and we want the best for you every time. We'll holler at y'all.